in the book of Genesis. He's the Word through whom God created everything into existence. In the book of Exodus, Jesus is the Passover lamb. In Leviticus, he's the temple. In Numbers, he's your ever-present guide. In the book of Deuteronomy, he's the prophet who's coming, who's greater than Moses. In Joshua, he's the one that's leading you into the promised land. In Judges, he's the broken Savior. He's rising up to rescue. In Ruth, he's the kinsman redeemer. In 1 and 2 Samuel, he's the pure-hearted shepherd king. In 1 and 2 Kings, he is the righteous ruler. In 1 and 2 Chronicles, he's the restorer of the kingdom. In Ezra, he's the faithful scribe. In Nehemiah, he is the rebuilder of the walls. In Esther, he's risking to restore you to royalty. In Job, he's the living redeemer. In the Psalms, he is your good shepherd. In the Proverbs, he is wisdom personified. In Ecclesiastes, Jesus is the meaning that lets you escape the madness. In the Song of Solomon, he is your bridegroom. In Isaiah, he's the wonderful counselor. He's the mighty God. He's the everlasting Father. He's the Prince of Peace. He's wounded for your transgressions, and he's bruised through your iniquities. In Jeremiah, he's the one that writes God's laws on your hearts. In Lamentations, he's the weeping prophet. In Ezekiel, he is the river of life bringing healing to the nations. In Daniel, he is the fourth man in the fire. In Hosea, he's the ever-present husband who's pursuing the unfaithful bride. In Joel, he's the restorer that has been lost. In Amos, he's the burden bearer. In Obadiah, he's the judge of all of the earth. In Jonah, he's the prophet that was cast out into the storm so that you could be brought in. In Micah, he's the everlasting ruler born to us in Bethlehem. In Nahum, he's the avenger of God's people. In Habakkuk, he's the reason that we rejoice even when everything else feels empty. In Zephaniah, he is the great reformer. In Haggai, he's the cleansing fountain. In Zechariah, he's the pierced son through whom every eye on earth will one day behold. And in Malachi, he is the son of righteousness. I'm telling you, every biblical book points to Jesus. And that's why the Old Testament is such a special book, that when you read the Old Testament, you dive into it, you understand it. It points us to have greater understanding and love for what God has done for us through his son, Jesus. You can receive him today. Even if you have strayed long away, even if you've been somewhat unfaithful, it's never too late. There's a faithful God waiting on you. And you can make a decision to recommit or maybe commit your life to him for the very first time. He's waiting for you.